Hello everyone, I'm Annie Gibbins and you're listening to Memoirs of Successful Women, the podcast where you get to hear candid conversations with fascinating women from around the globe who share aspects of their business and life journey, how they measure their success and what they have learnt along the way. Today my guest is Annie White, a kinesiologist, career transition and growth specialist who works with corporate women and children to assist them with stress reduction and the physiological and emotional effects of trauma. I'm really looking forward to exploring a bit deeper with Annie about her lengthy journey to find her true passion, leaving the corporate sector of sales to become a kinesiologist and to be working in this whole new space. So welcome, Annie. So Annie, tell me about your personal journey. Tell me a little bit about you and how that's driven you to where you are today.
I'm a mum of two and I live on the Northern Beaches in Sydney, and my journey really started probably around 2014. So I had been working I've done major corporates, I've been working in smaller business, and I literally came home and said to my husband, I'm not happy anymore. I need to do something that's going to fulfill me. And I remember he looked at me and was like, okay, here we go. What is it you want to do? I said, I think I want to go back to university. And he said, okay, we can make that happen. And I said, great. So off I went back to study a Bachelor of Chiropractic Science at Macquarie University in 2014. And I got halfway through the degree and I started to think, I'm not sure if this is it either. Because of being in the chiropractic area, it had introduced me to kinesiology. And I thought, well, I think that's it. So I took a leave from Macquarie University and I went to study kinesiology. And that pretty much was the beginning of the end for me. I found my thing. And I completed my Diploma of Kinesiology. During that time, I also completed a kids course in kinesiology so I could work with children. I studied Reiki to mastery level, and more recently I've just become a spiral practitioner. And I use all of these tools because I work with corporate women as a career transition and growth specialist. And my true passion is helping corporate women 40 plus to actually achieve their goals, professional goals, and that also entails their personal goals as well.
What an amazing journey. Let's just backtrack a little bit. When you knew you weren't happy, what were you doing before? And was it a feeling? Was it related to your thoughts about what you were doing? How did you have that moment that you thought, I just have to go to uni and do something else? This is not working for me. Describe that feeling.
It really started as a deep gut feeling. I felt that I really wasn't giving back anything to the world. I became quite conscious of the planet. I was working with consumer electronics, and I just got to the point I was so overselling things to people, and my whole ideal around the planet and who I was and where I fitted into the universe had changed. And it was this gut feeling that I had that just wouldn't go away. And I actually used to find myself on the computer flicking through, going through Macquarie University. Can I do this? Can I not do this? Yes, you can. And you've got the voices going, you've got to go back to uni. It's 5 years. It's going to be too hard. And I just said, no, this feeling inside of me was way too strong. And I took action. And, it's been pretty hard some days, but I am so thankful that I took the action that I did.
Yeah. I think that's a classic example of your inner values weren't resonating with what you're actually doing in your day job. That's what I'm hearing.
There was no congruence in where I got to in my life with what I was doing in my day job. And when you don't have that, things are just not aligned. And when they're not aligned, you actually have to make change.
So how do you measure success differently today in what you're doing with women, empowering them to succeed in their lives compared to what you were doing back in those many years ago? What's the difference?
Worlds apart. You know, it was seeing the forecast on the spreadsheet. It was meeting the numbers, getting budget, and it was push. And, you know, that becomes exhausting. Whereas today, success means something so different to me. Success is seeing my clients grow and change and seeing them succeed. It's, you know, it can be as small as just seeing the smile on their face when they have that aha moment. I get it. That to me is what success is. Yeah. And it's seeing it in someone else, someone that I'm working with, as opposed to constantly pushing for numbers. You know, it's just worlds apart. For me today, I don't have to push to make things happen. It just intrinsically happens for me. And I think that's how I realised I'd actually got to where I needed to be with my work. I'd found my purpose.
Yeah, and I often find that that's the case when I have these interviews and I talk to people who are what I would call in their zone, in their lane, following their purpose passionately. It's not that hard. I think that the hardness is when you're actually trying to fix the disconnect, and it's never going to happen. If you don't have that congruency with your values and your purpose, you're always going to be struggling, and it's exhausting. And you can see that in people, and they bash their head against a brick wall and they keep try, and it just doesn't work. And then suddenly you get this, it's actually people even come to me, people will come to you when you're actually just following your passion, because positive energy then resonates. Do you find that?
This is exactly right. And I guess in so many clients, I see where I was at with that incongruence of and a misalignment of values. And the people that I work with, this is what I see, and I know how much I can help them. And it's incredible because a lot of it just presents as stress and anxiety.
Yeah.
And because they're constantly pushing so hard and they're so exhausted, this affects their health so much as well, you know, and it's their nervous system is so out of balance. And that is something that I really work with to get this nervous system back on track and in balance.
So how would someone in their professional setting, you know, someone who's a senior manager heading to C-suite, and they're knowing they're not well, they're knowing they're stressed, they're knowing they're anxious, they know they get sick regularly, they're not happy. How would they think to find a kinesiologist expert to suddenly put their life back on track? How does that work?
It's interesting. I find that there's a little web been woven, and people are starting to wake up to kinesiology. There's a whisper in the background. People are talking about kinesiology much more than they were, say, 10 years ago. I think there's a change in mindset of many of the leaders in corporate are starting to look at other alternatives of actually seeking help. So often it will be a referral from someone they know, a friend or a business colleague, and that's sometimes how my clients come to me, and often it's via that. I'm also very active on LinkedIn, so I find my clientele resonate and tend to come to me through that avenue as well.
Many people, I find, they don't know what they want. Do you find that initially?
They actually don't know, and I do have quite a few people that come to me and they don't actually know what I do, but they seem to be drawn to me. So it's interesting. We're often drawn to something that we need, but we're not actually sure what it is. And I love that when they're open to the work that I do, and open to new things. And I find that really empowering.
If someone was wanting to reach out to you, what does that client look like? What's their day-to-day at the moment?
Well, I actually wear two hats.
Yeah.
So firstly, my client, as a career transition and growth specialist in that role, is the 40-plus corporate executive woman who feels very stuck. She's trapped in the career that she's doing. She feels that she can't progress. She doesn't know how to progress. Mm-hmm. She's got other issues going on outside in her life personally. Some of these things are causing impact on why she's not moving forward in her career. She's a person that quite possibly has unresolved past trauma. Some of these traumas can be childhood things, and these things really, really can affect her moving forward. She'll generally have a family, so that's going to be creating stress. She is grappling with not having enough time at home, possibly spending with the children, the partner, because she's constantly at work. She's struggling to show up at her best every day. She's feeling very stressed. And usually this is starting to take a toll on her health, and she's starting to notice it.
Yeah.
So that's my first client. And then, of course, I have a clinic. So that is where I work with, again, it's mainly women, but it's also children. So I work in a clinic, with my clinic as well, with women and children.
Beautiful, beautiful. So someone then who has worked with you for months or maybe even a year, describe that person.
That person is someone in a career, again, where they're feeling stuck, similar to what I described before, but you'll start to see this person unravel in a way, in a great way. So start to break down a lot of the conditioning, a lot of the held beliefs and values, and you'll start to see new behaviours. So there'll be a change in their patterns of behaviour, which is really important, because what they're currently doing is keeping them stuck and they're not progressing in their career. And so over that time, you'll start to see patterns change, and they will start to have wins. And once they start to have some of these wins, you'll notice the whole demeanour, whole mindset shift of that person will start to change, and things will start to shift, and they will start to move. And that will be professional and personal in both, in all their realms of their life. You'll start to see a movement and a shift.
Which is exciting, and that's where that momentum, you actually watch momentum building.
Yes.
And excitement, and I find with the women that I work with, you actually see them breathing calmly, you see them smiling more, you see them going, woohoo, oh my gosh, you just see this energy come out of the being, and it's just, that is actually the biggest buzz, isn't it? It's actually interesting that, I think, because you and I are in a similar space, that you often, it's actually not about what we're doing, it's actually the delight in watching other women thrive in their space.
It's all about that.
Yeah.
That's where and that's how I always say I measure my success is watching them thrive and grow as they work with you in the process.
Yeah.
And they do gain confidence, and then that leads to the next and the next, and they turn their life around. It's really transformational. It's incredible.
Absolutely. Oh, what a joy. Aren't we blessed to work in such an area of joy?
I say that every day. I feel so blessed, and I have so much gratitude for the work that I'm gifted.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I was on a webinar with my clients last night, and I started the webinar by going, oh my gosh, like I'm just enjoying interviewing these amazing women because they're all so different and varied, and I'm just so proud of them, and I'm so excited. And I just gave this big wrap of, you know, the ladies that I've been speaking to, and my clients are just looking at me going, oh my gosh, Annie, you do walk the talk. You're so. And I said, no, but that's what it's all about. It's just so exciting to see women thrive. We women need to be building each other up more and encouraging and celebrating the wins and say, you go, girl, there's an army of us supporters behind you, you know, just keep claiming that space because, you know, it is actually sad that we are, you know, conditioned often early to be good girls, to do the right thing, to not speak up, to be limited in our behaviour so we don't sort of become, you know, naughty or rebellious or outspoken or proud, for goodness sake. You know, it's a crazy limited system that often takes many, many years to undo.
Well, this is the thing, you know, it's the conditioning that, and, you know, for me, it's incredible. And to actually break through that conditioning, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work. And you got to be prepared to do that work if you actually want to get through and break through that. And I tell you what, the rewards are there when you do it, though. It's amazing.
Oh, absolutely. It's euphoric, you know, orgasmic or everything, you know. So
totally.
The delight you can't explain once you say, what does it feel like to just have freedom? I would just call it freedom to actually be you, who you uniquely were designed to be, and to be really thriving in that space. I mean, that's heaven, isn't it? And I think we as mums, you know, that's what you want for your child, isn't it? When you have your little one, you just want them to grow up to be a happy, healthy, balanced adult who's thriving. It's interesting. It's not that hard when you're a new parent. What does every parent want? And then it's interesting that we then put people into a life that conditions you to be limited in and also to conform and to all be very similar when we are all so uniquely different, you know. And I know that having 5 children, they're so uniquely different, and that's a good thing, you know. And we need to encourage that diversity, that uniqueness, because that's what makes them and what makes the planet a better place.
I totally agree, and what a good point you just make. We all want the same for our child, and that is, you know, the world is their oyster, and then yet we start this conditioning process from the minute that they pop into their earth suit, so to speak.
Yes.
And we limit, and we unconsciously limit them, and, you know, it's just incredible how that happens. But you know what? It's a generational thing. It's gone on forever.
Yeah.
And you know, I think though, just knowing that there are ways to actually break through this conditioning, and that is really interesting. And I've just actually been up to Byron Bay, and I've just become a spiral practitioner, and I have to say that is the most incredible program that I have ever. It's changed my life, and it's all about going down deep low into the emotions and actually clearing all of the conditioning and values on an energetic level that we carry around. It's incredible. It totally just blows apart all of the emotional baggage that we carry around, and it does it quickly and effectively. And it changes your life. It's truly transformational, and it's one tool that I have found that is so effective for actually breaking down this conditioning.
Fantastic. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling excited myself. So we tapped upon our point just before, which sort of said that, you know, it's hard. It's hard to undo the conditioning that we have. You know, you've got a lifetime of layered, you know, opinions, decisions, thoughts that we've put into our mind, and it is hard to actually do the journey to start unpacking them. And you know, when the natural default of our beings is to go into our comfort zone and to go with what we've done before, I think that's a really important thing for people to know, that, you know, if you want an overnight sort of win, that probably won't happen. It will take a commitment to change. But then once you have done that change, the change is the benefits are exponential. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. So when we say it's not an easy journey, it's not because you've actually got to go in and you've got to actually go in on an emotional level. And, as humans, many of us, we have this fear of this. And we tend to avoid these emotions at all costs. And, it isn't easy because you've got to go in there and you've actually got to go inward and do the work yourself.
Yes.
But it is doable, but you actually have to be committed to it, and you have to be prepared for whatever comes up, and you've got to allow yourself the space to work with that. And it's not easy, but I tell you, as you said, the rewards at the end of it, when you can actually shed all of this, you can truly move forward in life, and it's magic. It really is.
It really is magic. I often liken it when I have clients who go, so, they want me to start doing their homework almost, and it's kind of like, tempting as it is, it has to be your own work. It's an authentic requirement. You can only work on yourself. You can't have someone else do it for you. We never look at, an Olympic athlete and say, gee, I hope the coach can do it all for them. That athlete has to do the training, has to do the mind training, the psychology, has to do the diet, has to do the exercise, has to commit 100%. In fact, we look at that athlete and go, well, that would be ridiculous. If you want to, you want to succeed in your space, it has to be you, and then you have to enjoy the benefits of the coach or the techniques behind that person. You have to do it yourself. And although we're not athletes, we're just people going about our lives and building our careers and being happy and balanced. It actually has to come from the work that we do ourselves. Is the revelation. That's how you would have found when you had that moment of, this isn't working for me, and then that's time through university. That wouldn't have been easy, but it's a choice to go, I'm going to do the work, and then you found yourself through that process.
Yeah, totally. I would laugh and say, boy, I went the longest way about it. But, you get there in the end. But, there was obvious reasons that I had to go to university to start this journey to get to where I was. And I'd never found kinesiology or Reiki or spiral or any of these things had I not gone into chiropractic, because kinesiology's roots are from chiropractic.
Yes.
So that was the start that took me to where I needed to be, and I'm just so thankful for that.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point, that once you're on a journey that's actually leading you in a direction, you'll find more things when you don't have a limited belief system, that you will then suddenly go, oh, there's more, and I even like it more. What a surprise, because you're heading in that direction. And it's all about the direction and the steps towards your purpose, I suppose.
And I think having a very curious mind is something that's a wonderful asset. So, going along and finding all these things and being open to all of these things. And, I say this is just the tip of the iceberg. So I approach every day with such a curious mind, thinking what's the next thing? What else can I bring into my world that's going to be of benefit for my clients? So it's a constant work in progress as well for me every day, so that I show up at my best every day for my clients.
Thank you so much for your time. I have so enjoyed our conversation. It's just been delightful. You're an amazing lady. And I think I say that not because of what you've achieved, but because what you're doing. The more and more I speak to people who are just living their truth, being in the zone that makes them thrive and helps others thrive. I think that to me is just so encouraging, refreshing, inspiring, and I'm so thrilled that you're doing that. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Memoirs of Successful Women. You can find me at anniegibbins.com, where you can download my free resources, get connected on social, and check out my online magic transformation program. If you love this show, feel free to subscribe to future episodes and, of course, share it with your friends. I'll see you again soon, and until then, happy podcasting.